Morning ladies and gentlemen, another busy day. This afternoon I'm going out to the Brookfield Tennis Centre to interview Sue and Greg Braun about the rescue and the saving of the Milton ticket office. And this YouTube in particular, besides being a follow-up for the bust unveiling on the 29th of December at 9 AM with the Lord Mayor, is also about this book by Hugh, Lunn, Spies Like Us, because it was Spies Like Us that grabbed my attention. It was serialised on the ABC and I used to listen to it religiously on the Sunday morning when it was played on Macca on a Sunday. And with that, I better get back to work and I'll see you in a few minutes out at Brookfield. So I'm on my way over to Brookfield and I'm just driven past Frew Park here, and as you can see, work has started on the project, and what is really nifty is that just across the road, tennis.
Blue scrapbook up and down Nathan Road and across and back on the ferry from Kowloon to Hong Kong Island. My only chance left now is to try to find an Australian reporter from Bondi called Steve Dunleavy. But no one seemed to know where he lived.
In the 70s it was pretty active, and I went to America, to Flushing Meadows, to see what I could learn to bring back. And I saw some big things, big balls and big symbols, but I never saw a big tennis racket. So I thought, well, maybe a big tennis racket would do it. So I asked Milton.
So here's the Stefan racket underneath the Stefan Sky Needle. Not quite as bad as it looks because it's actually up on blocks, and it was in quite good condition. And because I lived in South Brisbane, I knew that the racket was sitting there quietly minding its own business. And it just struck me when I was working on the Ken Fletcher Park suggestion that the racket really did deserve a home. And what happened was, so I took it upon myself to ring Stefan to have a talk about the racket, and he was quite amenable to the idea of using it at Frew Park. And Stefan sent me this photo, and then the Lord Mayor and Stefan got together, and that's when real progress was started. Quite a complex arrangement. The racket had to be checked for structural integrity. Council's very pedantic about those issues, but at the end of the day an agreement was reached, and we should see it up at Frew Park within the next 12 months. And here's Stefan and the Lord Mayor doing the deal. So good afternoon. Now we're out at Brookfield, just opposite the general store, and occasionally I'll have to stop talking as the traffic goes past. It's a fairly busy road I've discovered. Now, before I got here, after going home and getting a shower, I actually received an email from Sue explaining that circumstances have changed today. She can't actually see me, and I don't have a problem with that. As I said, one truck going past, stop talking. Because why we're here is to talk about the book Spies Like Us. And on the front cover there's a quote, "It's a ripper," says Ian McNamara. Now, earlier in the YouTube I said how I came to be interested in the story of Kenny Fletcher was through the writings of Hugh Lunn, particularly though the serialisation that used to occur or be played on Macca on a Sunday. What you may not know is that Macca actually wrote and sang the tune, which is just a great tune. I love it. Now in the book, reference is made to I Spy, and that was a TV show in the 1960s, and it starred Robert Culp and Bill Cosby. And it's not a bad TV series. I haven't yet seen series 1, but I have watched most of series 2 and 3. And it's a good romp, and it's a laugh, and I enjoy it. And you'd expect that with Bill Cosby being a comedian, that it would be a good romp and a good laugh. Now, just prior to this part of the YouTube, you saw some footage where we were looking at the Stefan Racket. And the connection there is that Hugh Lunn regularly and quite often used to interview Stefan when he was passionately interested in promoting and helping tennis. And so that's the connection. And it all ties up beautifully in as much as that the Lord Mayor is really pushing ahead, getting the heritage story going of tennis in Queensland. And that story goes right back to 1876, because that's when organised tennis was first introduced in Queensland at the Brisbane Grammar School by the then new headmaster. And almost immediately after that, Through Park began its development, and Milton obviously was the centrepiece of the tennis world in Queensland. And it's just great to see Ken Fletcher Park, Through Park, the Stefan Racket going back up, the Roy Emerson Tennis Centre, and as I said, on the 29th of December, the first day of the Brisbane International, the bus being unveiled at Ken Fletcher Park. And it should be just a great occasion, because Hugh has really made sure that I've brought to fruition the story of Kenny Fletcher through the plaques that are placed around the plinth, and that will also give a great lead to Brisbane greeters as they do their tours in Through Park and Ken Fletcher Park and the Tennis Centre, as I'm sure they will, because tennis tourism into Brisbane is just, I think, on the up. And so with that little bit of an overview, we'll say good afternoon, and I can just recommend breakfast and lunch, and Hugh, if you're listening to this, I think you and I should come out for a dinner and then go down and play a game of tennis just 600 metres down the road that way, back towards Brisbane, and have a closer look at that Old Milton Tennis ticket office. Good afternoon, and thanks for watching.
For 3 weeks I've been out walking the crowded streets of Hong Kong.
So here is possibly one of those articles, courtesy of the John Oxley Library, and it's from the Courier Mail, page 11, on the 9th of the 6th, 1999, and it's a quote, in part, from Stefan's financial manager, Niven Thompson, and he says, "Stefan put that tennis racket there about 20 years ago, so we'll find a good home for it." Well, he was correct. They did find a good home for it. Took a darn sight longer than I guess he thought when he made that quote back on the 9th of the 6th, 1999, but at the end of the day, it found a good home. Funny enough, that good home's exactly where it started out. However, that's just the way life is.